Hi, and welcome to the ARC, Arapahoe and Douglas training on who we are, the transition programs, and how we can help. I'm Luke Whelan, the Director of Community Outreach, Education, and Communication here at the ARC, Arapahoe and Douglas County. Today, we're going to talk about who the ARCs are very briefly, advocacy, education, events, and then also step into the transition programs and what to do when school's over. So, to start off, here at the ARC, we don't see anyone as problems or issues. We see them as opportunities. We really are here to help families and individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Our approach is we're tough on ideas, we're soft on people. We assume everyone that we interact with is trying their best to do good work. So we very much value that and look at that in everyone we work with. We'll meet families, teams where they are, but then we'll consistently ask them to do a little bit more. Just because we can't do everything, and we definitely need the team approach and the team support. Families are going to be overwhelmed. We know this, it's a lot. So we just remind them that everyone has different developmental stages. Just take it step by step, breathe, make your plan, revise your plan, and ask for help. That's what the ARCs are here to do, is we're here to help. So the ARC Arapahoe and Douglas County is a 501c3 nonprofit that uses advocacy and education to help include all children and adults with intellectual or developmental disabilities and their families within their own community. Now, we've been around since the mid-50s. There are other ARC chapters across the state, and the ARCs here in Colorado have chosen to be advocacy-only organizations, so we don't provide any direct care services to individuals. But we are free. We aren't beholden to anyone, be it Medicaid, school districts, community center boards. We work for the individual. We don't make families pay us for supports. We support them, at least the ARC Arapahoe and Douglas does, be it a member or not. Now, we'd love people to be a member if they'd like to, very low cost. But here at the ARC Arapahoe and Douglas, we'll support them if they want to become a member or not with advocacy. If they didn't want to become a member, or if you know anyone, or if you do, here is a little bit about our membership and why we have it. If you'd like to, please follow us on Facebook, other social media, our website, or reach out to someone here at the ARC Arapahoe Douglas, and we can connect you with how to become a member. Who we serve. So the ARC Arapahoe and Douglas County serves individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families in the Arapahoe and Douglas County area, excluding the city of Aurora. We support all ages and all disability levels from birth to death. The school districts we serve are Douglas County, Inglewood, Sheridan, Littleton, and then part of Cherry Creek School District, and a small district out on the eastern plains of Arapahoe County and Elbert County. Aurora Public Schools and part of that Cherry Creek School District are served by the ARC of Aurora, so if you have a family that needs them, there's their contact information. But realistically, if any family needs support, they can always reach out to the ARC Arapahoe and Douglas County, and we'll get them connected with their local area ARC. So we won't turn any family away because they're not ours. We'll make sure we get them to an advocate if they need that. What is advocacy? So we do two kinds of advocacy. We do systems advocacy and individual advocacy. So systems advocacy, some of what we're doing today is systems advocacy, training people on the system, so the transition program. And then we do a lot of individual advocacy as our bread and butter there. Advocacy in general is a lot of information and referrals. So that could be at state or federal legislative levels down to families and individuals with IDD. Do a lot of education and counseling. We attend a lot of school meetings, be it IEPs or other meetings that are needed for an individual. We can assist, or at least our chapter does, with Social Security applications, Medicaid, and other medical care kind of decisions, conversations. We help with vocational and employment opportunities, being, supporting individuals, educating them what that means, looking for that idea of like what they're really interested in. We might help families, find some housing resources. We don't provide housing ourselves, but we definitely can look to help families out to figure out how they can do that. We do a lot of helping families and individuals understand the rights and responsibilities of the adult system, what the rights are for the individual that's now an adult, and what the rights or responsibilities are for the system that's supporting them. We help guide families through Medicaid, Social Security, and the waiver programs. As advocates, we're guardian for several adults without families. We push for all of individuals we serve to have the most self-determination as possible. That's our neutral aspect in this. An advocate for the individual, be it a child or adult, is self-determination. Is that they get to help make their own choices and be part of their team and really drive that team. A normal advocate might have on average about 50 meetings per month. Now, some child advocates might have more or less than that at the beginning and the end of the school year because they're so busy at those times, but that's kind of an average. We offer a lot of educational aspects here at the Arc Arapahoe in Douglas County. The biggest one being Step Up into Life After High School, a workshop series on preparing those for life after high school. If you wanted to watch that, it's a 13-part series recorded on our YouTube channel. Go to our website, upper right-hand corner is the link to YouTube, and there's the playlist for all 13. And this will be part of that series, here too. So we also do a lot of empowering family workshops. So it might be self-care, to end of life supports, how to plan for when you can no longer be the caregiver for your loved one. We do a lot of topical educational offerings that families bring to us they need, or they feel that the system's missing. So one of them might be our sexual education class we do twice a year, or we might do one where it's just integrating them with the fire department, and that was like a one-time training. So we can do those as families need, or there's a system request. Obviously, our webpage and social media have a ton of information and resources on it that we constantly update. We also do calls to action. That's where we really reach out to families and the system to support a bill, support legislation, reach out to their legislators, be it local or federal, to really try and support people with disabilities now, but also in the future. Because again, we continue to try and make the system better, easier, and more understandable for families and individuals with IDD. We do a lot of special activities. The fun part of our job, per se, sometimes is our annual meeting, our annual picnic, our haunted house. We do a mountain retreat some years. Then we have the ARC Adventures groups, when learning, fun, and leadership, where young adults with IDDs, or self-advocates as we call them, come to and learn more, have fun, and then learn to be leaders in their own right. So if you ever wanted to learn more of that information, follow us on social media, our weekly newsletter, or just our calendar on our website has all that information. Now, getting into the transition programs, what to do when school's over. Transition programming is one option from 18 to 21. Individuals can also go on to college at 18 or after they finish the transition program. They can work and not, or go into a day program, or do a combination of all four. Today, we're going to focus on the transition programming, but if you're interested in learning more about college, work, or the day program, check into our YouTube channel again for that Step Up into Life After High School series. Each has a video there. The transition programs are for students who received special education services prior to the end of their 18th year, who have an IEP, then are eligible to access from age 18 to 21 services through that school district. That's including any of those that left but got their GEDs. They have to meet some minimum requirements for graduation. They have to have it identified in their IEP that they need transition services. We'll explain what those are in a moment. So students still get to participate in that graduation. It's more of a social graduation ceremony, but they don't accept their high school diploma, so that they can continue to receive those services from 18 to 21. Free and appropriate education, or FAPE, which is under the IDEA in the federal rules and laws, ends once someone has been issued their diploma. So for people that are going to go into the transition program, we have them not receive their diploma at 18. They don't receive it until they complete their transition program. Students' IEP team should start discussing transitions roughly around that last triennial and or the junior year of high school. That's when they really should start talking about what's going to happen after they graduate. Transition programs begins at the conclusion of the student's senior year of high school, not necessarily when they turn 18. Even though services from transition start at 18 to 21, it really is when that student concludes their high school curriculum. That includes an extended school year. Every public school district must offer a transition programming now. This programming can happen in the student's current high school, which smaller districts normally tend to do, or can be in an off-campus location, so which other larger school districts have that ability to do. Some very small districts, mostly maybe in the rural areas of our catchment area, might contract with other school districts for the transition programming to combine, just because they don't have the capability of just offering transition to maybe 1 or 2 students. They want to combine them to get more of them involved. What they call themselves, so some schools call their transition program transition or transitions, where others might have a unique name, like Douglas County is the Bridge program. But there's no difference in what it is. It's still their transition federal backed program. Because it's that federal program, there's no cost for transition programming, as it's part of the free and appropriate education, or FAPE, under IDEA, just like special education programming in K through 12th grade is. Now again, remember, FAPE ends once someone receives that diploma. So students that want to participate in the transition program would have that graduation ceremony, but would not get their diploma at that time. Continuing into the transition program is not required by all students in the special education services. So it's a really individual choice and team decision, and the idea of that individual is going to really need the life skill building supports that the transition program is about. So that transition program is there to help students with disabilities gain access to live the most independent life possible. It's a lot of life skill building at this time. The reading, writing, and arithmetic that you had K through 12 ends at graduation. And the transition program now takes on post-secondary education and training, some job development, employment skills, independent living skills, all based on your individual goals, needs, and assessments. They have clearly identified objectives. Their IEP continues with them in this. So they have things very outlined of what they're supposed to be working towards. It's a very flexible program that are constantly on the go. They're out in the community learning, post-secondary education, offer job opportunities, volunteer systems, their community, some safety skills, all those. So they're constantly kind of moving and shaking in the community programs or the transition program in general. They're very flexible too. So someone needs to work a little bit because that's their, or go on to do college 1 day a week. Transition programs can be very flexible in how that looks. They have some minor requirements, but each school district can definitely build a transition program that is pretty individualized for young adults. When does transition programming end? It typically ends when the student earns their diploma or accepts that diploma. That's either can be anytime or when they reach the age of 21. So a student can end their transition program at any time, be it 18, 19, 20. So they can go in, and if this isn't working out, they can have what's called an eligibility review, and then they get their diploma. And so that free FAPE, an appropriate education, stops. So thus they're finally graduating and receiving their diploma. Or they can go all the way till their 21st birthday. And typically some school districts will end transition programming at the conclusion of the semester the student turns 21. So an example, if they turn 21 in September, they would officially graduate at that winter break moment, if that's when that semester ends. Other school districts will have that transition program and conclude at the end of the school year, no matter when that individual turns 21. The examples, again, if they turn 21 in September, they wouldn't officially graduate until the end of that full school year. Again, it can be different for each school district, for each individual. If they want to be done when that student turns 21 and they want to just continue to the end of the semester, great, even though that school offers it to the end of the school year. So it's very unique, and you need to have that conversation with the IEP team, which brings the ARCs into it. How can we help? We, especially the ARC at Arapahoe and Douglas County, just continue to support individual families, IEP teams through any school meeting into the adult system, be it case management or Medicaid. Now each chapter of the ARC might operate a little differently of what meetings they can or can't attend, but ARC Arapahoe and Douglas is going to meet you where we are, and again follow you through and work with any individual if they want an advocate, for as long as they want an advocate. So we don't end at 18 because they finished school and they went on to transition. We continue to help them like we did back when they were in K through 12, but also help them with the adult system on outside of school. And then once they hit 21, it's either with employment, day program, a combination, college, whatever that might look like for that individual. That's what the ARCs are going to do. So with us, nothing changes based on age. We're always there to help. Here's our contact information. So if you need to reach out to get connected with an advocate, look into our events, membership, different classes we run, find our website, it's all right there for you. But we also wanted to bring you to school districts so that you hear directly from them of how their transition programs work. So they'll go a little bit deeper in, explain kind of what their curriculum looks like, what every day might look like. So we have Douglas County Schools and Littleton Public Schools that both have a short video here to explain what their transition programs look like. So thank you so much for listening to us today. I hope you enjoy the 2 videos to follow. If you need any more information, connections, or resources, please feel free to reach out to the ARC Arapahoe and Douglas counties, and we can help any family, case manager, team, or teacher that reaches out to us. Thank you and take care.
Hi, my name is Judy Jordan. I am the principal of the Douglas County School District Bridge Transition Program, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about our program. So the students in the Bridge program have continued needs in all 3 areas of their IEP for their post-secondary goals around employment, career, education, and adult living skills. So the students in the program do exhibit below average cognitive and or adaptive skills on their current assessments. So that is important because some of the students are going to have below average scores in all areas, but there's also students that might just have below average cognitive or below average adaptive scores. So it's one or the other. In order to attend the program, you do have to live within the Douglas County School District. Because we're a program and not a school, we do not take open enrollment. Also around the metro area, all the districts have talked, and we do feel that the students need to attend a transition program within the area in which they live, because that is their current community where they're going to be being able to go out into the community to do jobs and things like that. So typically the students in the program have also completed all their high school credits and their community service hours. While we typically will hold a credit or an hour back on their transcripts, they're going to have completed all that within their high school. And the reason being is if a student decides not to attend Bridge and they haven't completed this, they're not going to be able to get their diploma. They're going to be considered a dropout, and we don't want that to happen to anybody. We want everybody to be able to complete with their diploma. The students will come through graduation. They'll go through graduation and walk with all the other students in their class. They just don't receive their diploma. When they leave Bridge, we do our own graduation, and the students are going to receive their diploma with that school year on. So if the student is leaving the high school in 2021 this year, and then they attend Bridge for 2 years, their diploma is going to say 2023, but the diploma will be from their high school. We do provide transportation for all students to the Bridge program, and all the students receive the related services just like they have in the high school. So if they have speech services, they have occupational therapy, physical therapy, deaf, hard of hearing, vision, mental health, any of those related services that they get in the high school, they're also going to be able to have those within the Bridge Transition Program. In Douglas County, the students stay in the program until the end of the school year they turn 21. There are some districts I know that end at semester, but at Douglas County, we keep them until the end of the school year. So even if they turn 21 in September, they're going to stay until the following May, and then they'll get their diploma at that time. There are students who meet all their goals and they're ready to go ahead and take their diploma, and that is fine too. So they can leave whenever they want to. They don't have to stay till 21, but most of the students do stay. As I said earlier, we do hold a graduation ceremony in May, and your diploma is from your home high school, as long as it is in Douglas County. There are some students who have moved into the district during their transition years from either another district in Colorado or from out of state, but their diploma is going to have whatever their home high school in Douglas County is. I think a lot of people, that's a big question that we get for a lot of students that move in. The students do need to be engaged. They need to be an active participant in the program, and we do require attendance. We have the students come a minimum of 3 days a week. While most students come all 5 days, there are students that have part-time jobs. There are students who might go to a day program once or twice a week. And there are some students who go to community college. And so for those students, we allow them to be gone those days, but we do want everybody to come a minimum of 3 days a week. If it's a medical need, that's a little different. We have students who are out, for a couple weeks because of medical procedures or something like that. That's kind of a different thing. The attendance is really for kids who just decide, oh, I don't really want to go today, or maybe bridge isn't for me. If that were to happen, we would have an IEP meeting and kind of talk about goals and what is the best placement for the student. As I said, the students might take 1 or 2 college classes while they're also attending Bridge. But for Douglas County, I think it's important for you to know that the staff does not go to college with your students. They don't go to class. They don't provide transportation. What they will do is check in with the students while they're at Bridge and make sure that they're, check in with them. Are you keeping up with your work? Are you talking to your professors? Are you accessing the accommodations that you need, the modifications? So that's really more of working with the students in that aspect. And then if the student's post-secondary goal is that they're going to attend a college, we do want to see that academic gap and how we're going to make sure that we get the students to that place in their life, because a lot of students, I think, want to attend college just because that's what they hear their friends say, but they may not really understand what it is to attend college and where their academic goals are versus where it needs to be. And so we do make sure that we have all that in their IEPs. And if a student is a 4-year college-bound student, more than likely our transition program is not for them. We do a lot of independent living skills, a lot of employment skills. And so if you're really college-bound to get a degree, this program is probably not for that student. In Douglas County, we did level our classes a few years ago, and we've been very, very successful with it. So we have 3 different levels. We have the pathways levels, which is our most significant needs students. Those students need a very high level of adult support. Not everybody is one-on-one, but I would say close to it. A lot of the students are one-on-one with staff or 2 staff to 1 student. A lot of the students in that are non-ambulatory, they're not nonverbal, so they need the help tube feeding. So a lot of really significant needs in that program. Our Voyagers program is more of a moderate level of adult support. So it's kind of our typical SSN student who has the low cognitive and low adaptives. They can be in groups of 3 to 4 to 5 students to an adult. And then our Connections program is our highest level of program. Many of the students in that program we find are on the higher end of the autism spectrum and also come from the mild moderate side of special ed at the high schools. A lot of the students that are in the Connections programs are going to be able to hold down jobs, at least part-time, if not full-time. And most of them are going to be able to live semi-independently, if not independently. So there's also a fluid transition between the classes and the programs. Just because you start like in a Voyagers program doesn't mean like the next year or mid-year we might move you up to a program or we might move you down to a program. A lot of it also just depends on the students that we have. Currently, the transition program at Douglas County has 110 students. Next year, our projection is at least 125 students. And then in 22-23, we'll be over 130 students within the program. Some of the happenings that go on within the program are the cooking lessons. Again, the part of that adult living skills. They do a cooking lesson at least once a week. The students will choose the menu. Sometimes we ask students to bring money to pitch in for that lesson, or we'll use the fundraising money for those, the things that they need for the lesson. They go on recreational outings, library, the rec center, they might go to the park. They also go on community outings, and those will depend upon the program. Sometimes the students are asked to bring money for those. Sometimes, again, we'll use the fundraising money. In the community outings, we do a lot of restaurant skills. So there's a lot of going out to sit down restaurants as well as fast food restaurants to make the kids as independent as possible. That's the number one goal, I think, of the program is independence. Even at our lowest level of programming, we look at that independence. We work on functional academics. We don't do reading goals and math goals. It's more financial literacy, money. Do you have enough money to live in an apartment? Do you have enough money to pay your bills? How are you going to spend your paycheck? A lot of the money does come from the parents. And if the kids have a check card, make sure they know what's on that card when they go out to eat, make sure they know how to use it or know how to use the money that they're buying things with. And then we also go on job sites. With COVID, we've backed off quite a bit on our job sites, but hopefully next year in 21, 22, we'll be able to get back to the job sites. And the students will typically go to a job site once or twice a week. And depending on the program, they would go to that site from 1 to 3 hours. We try to do job sites in the areas of interest of students. So we have lots of different companies and businesses that we work with, and those will vary from year to year depending upon the needs and wants of the students. So other options for students if they decide not to come to the Bridge program or they feel it's really not for them. So the important thing is once they've taken their diploma, they can no longer have services through the district. So when they get that diploma, that FAPE, free appropriate public education, ends when they get that diploma. So that's why it's really important that senior year, when we talk about if they're going to get their diploma or not, especially for our higher functioning students, so that we can make sure if they decide not to come, they finished all their credits and they can get their diplomas. Most of the students in our Connections program, and then also our students in the high school and that mild moderate programming, have access to the School to Work Alliance program, SWAP, which is also part of the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. And they can work with the students up until age, I have 25 on my PowerPoint, I think it's 24. But most of the school districts in the metro area have a SWAP program. So that's known throughout all the different districts. There's also the inclusive ed programs, which are awesome for a lot of our students. Arapahoe Community College has the Elevate program. UNC has the Gold program. UCCS has the inclusive program. And so I know we have some students that will go straight from high school and go to one of the programs, or they might come to the transition program for a year, then apply to one of those. We've had a few students go on and leave a year early to go on to the Elevate program at Arapahoe Community College. And then preparing our students for life after Bridge. Once the students graduate, they no longer receive support from the school district, as we talked about. The students will go on and they'll be doing things in day programs. They might be doing part-time or full-time employment. And then also we work with our parents to make sure that they have all the information they need for various adult agencies outside the district for once they graduate. We try to give that information to them every year at their IEP. We also do some transition fairs so the parents can come, and it's not like, oh my gosh, they turned 21 and they graduate next month, what are we going to do? So we really try to work with parents all throughout their time in transition to go over those. And that's it for the Douglas County Bridge program. Feel free, again, my name is Judy Jordan. It's J.A. Jordan at dcsdk12.org. I'll add my information to the PowerPoint. And so if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call.
Hello, my name is Mary Allman, and I am the Transition Services Program Coordinator for Littleton Public Schools. I'm here to share with you a little bit about our program and all of the wonderful things that we help our young men and women accomplish on their road to adulting. So let's get started. So within Littleton Public Schools, we are housed within a very tiny school building. That's our home base. But within this home base, we are able to greet our young men and women and provide them with a physical home to come to during the day while they venture out on this last leg of their public school journey. So within our program, we are a small group of about 35 professionals and anywhere between 30 to 60 incredible young men and women from the entire Littleton community. We primarily focus on life skills training. So we serve any adults within the public school setting, typically between the ages of 18 and 21, who are eligible to receive special education services. And we focus primarily on those individuals that could use an extra chapter on their educational journey in order to get the most out of their adult lives. I won't read all of this to you, but ultimately our mission, vision, and goal for transition services is in support of Littleton Public Schools' overarching vision, which is that 100% of LPS students will graduate prepared for meaningful post-secondary opportunities. And so we commit to supporting that all means all goal. So we want to empower all of our young men and women to enter adulthood as resilient lifelong learners, to rely upon their personal strengths to lead productive lives while becoming active and contributing members to their community. In order to accomplish those things, we offer a wide array of services, which include communication services, social emotional support, access to community resources and opportunities, and then ultimately collaboratively joining forces to support students in accomplishing their post-secondary goals. Some of our providers include a full-time administrator, which is me. We have 5 special education case managers and teachers. We have a speech language pathologist, a mental health professional, occupational therapist, a vocational training specialist, 20 paraprofessionals who provide and support things like life skills instruction, independent living skills, job coaching, and much, much more. The way that we implement our services is bringing in all of our young men and women at the start of each school year in order to discuss their progress towards graduation requirements and their post-secondary goals outlined in their IEPs, and any life changes that are significant enough to impact them in becoming successful towards their journey towards independence. So we help build a schedule from scratch every single year based off of their individual needs and IEP goals and accommodations in order to provide a structure that is relevant, meaningful, and supportive towards their adulting journey. So some of the classes that we typically offer, and again, these sometimes are created from scratch every year based off of student needs. But some of the things that we are typical for transition is living on your own, figuring out independent transportation, whether that's through RTD, Accessoride, Uber. We even have students that have their own cars and drive to and from. We do a lot of money math, so budgeting, life skills, so that our students don't get taken advantage of. Cooking, social skills, self-determination, social emotional wellness, healthy relationships, life and dying, executive functioning, vocational readiness, power of positivity, recreation and leisure, community exploration. It can go on and on and on. And every year we have a student that comes our way who has something brand new that stretches us, which is fabulous. A lot of our community partners that we rely on are Arapahoe Community College, South Suburban Recreation Centers, the National Sports Center for the Disabled, City of Littleton, Southwest Plaza, Shops of South Glen, King Soopers, Littleton Hospital, Littleton Public Schools, the ARC Thrift Stores, Freedom Service Dogs, RTD, and Mission Hills, and these are just a few. We have a wide array. And when students are experiencing transition services within Littleton Public Schools, we really want to focus on the holistic human being. We recognize that not every young adult is going to go off to college, not every young adult is going to find purpose in a full-time job, but we want our students to have as many experiences as possible to help provide joy, a love of adventure, and the opportunity to discover passions, purpose, and capability. We believe that all means all, and no one gets left behind. So every single student is going to get all of the same opportunities that anyone that walks through our doors gets. And that is a passion that we stay steadfast to. It's a non-negotiable for us. Employment is a big opportunity within transition services. So with the help of the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation and the School to Work Alliance program, we support students in gaining confidence in their pre-employment skills. And we are able to accomplish that through a wide variety of volunteer experiences or even paid job experiences. Every single student, regardless of their different abilities, has the opportunity to experience employment with our program. So we do a lot of mission work. So through the food bank, through our thrift stores, we work a lot with Littleton Hospital as well as Littleton Public Schools to bring some joy to our district employees as well as our students. So our hope is that students who want or need employment have at least one paid experience before graduating. And ultimately, if that is their long-term goal, we hope that they leave us fully employed. Some of our post-secondary opportunities that we provide for our students, we have a lot of concurrent enrollment options through Arapahoe Community College. And within that, we pay for courses through those experiences, and that includes the inclusive college experience as well. We try to support employment, whether that is a supported, independent, paid, or volunteer. We also help students bridge their lives to their day programs. So once they're in their last year with us, some of our students have a dual enrollment option where they have some days of their day programs and some days with us, which is a great way to help the families transition as well as our students. We have a lot of students that do end up in PASAs, so those public service agencies. We have a big one within our community that our students access. We also help our families get set up with developmental pathways, Medicaid, Social Security, DVR, of course, and Rocky Mountain Human Services is a big one that we work with as well. So graduation is kind of a transition in and of itself within transition services. There are several new pathways within Littleton Public Schools to earn a high school diploma. This process is currently under construction as the state has mandated new capstones and different pathways that students need to demonstrate competency. And so we are trying to figure out a way to maintain the passion and the purpose that we believe in, that all students can receive a general education high school diploma. We do not provide our students with special education diplomas or certificates of attendance. Every student that completes their capstone or their competency pathways receives a general education high school diploma, which is great. So currently within Littleton Public Schools, students must complete an individual career academic plan or an ICAP. They must complete their high school credit requirements, and they have to complete competency pathways. That can be challenging for some of our students with different abilities, but one of the nicest things about transition services is students can come to us for 2 years, 3 years, whatever makes the most sense for them. And we have created a capstone project within our program. So any student that sticks with their plan, follows their schedule, and is able to figure out a way to find a journey and a pathway that means independence and success for them, they will receive their high school diplomas at the end of their time with us, which is very exciting and something that we're very passionate about. So all in all, the road to adulting is not straight. It's a narrow pathway. It's a wide and winding road, but it's one that we believe all students have the ability to accomplish and succeed, and one that we are very excited to partner with all of our community agencies in order to accomplish. So that is just a little overview of what Littleton Public Schools Transition Services Program Journey Towards Adulting looks like. Thank you so much.